Guys, today's piece of content is called Why Philosophers Make Formidable Entrepreneurs. I'll link the article below as usual. A pretty short article, so not a whole lot to go on, but basic premise of what the writer says is he's experienced a lot of entrepreneurs that he knows, especially successful entrepreneurs who have had background, perhaps college degrees in philosophy instead of some business kind of thing. He draws a parallel that if there are so many people who have kind of gone through that philosophical background, then maybe that's a tie to being a good entrepreneur. He lists then after that 5 points of why he thinks this could be, why philosophy is a good place to start to go into entrepreneurship. And so I thought I would just pick my favorite one out of these ones and kind of riff on that a little bit. So my favorite point, or the one that stuck with me the most, is his second point. He says, philosophers are deeply analytical. Rather than run their business on pure gut instinct, they look for evidence. By applying their analytical powers, they are able to reduce business risk. So this reminds me of, there's a movie called Moneyball. It's based on the Oakland Athletics 2002 baseball season. And it follows kind of the path of their general manager, Billy Beane, who's played by Brad Pitt in the movie, and how he kind of restructures their entire system of how they get players and how they sign players, why they sign players, all that stuff. I remember there's a specific scene in the movie where Billy Beane, played by Brad Pitt, is there in a room with a bunch of other guys, and they're trying to decide what guys they want on the team, what guys they don't want to have on the team. And they are kind of just using this random logic that doesn't make any sense. So this one guy is saying, "Oh yeah, I really like the way that guy swings the bat. Looks really good. We should sign him." And then another guy who's like, "Oh, that guy throws really funny. I don't think we want him. It just looks bad." And Billy Beane is clearly annoyed and frustrated by what's happening. He's just saying there's all just talk. Nothing is actually happening. So what he ends up doing is he pairs up with another guy that he finds on another baseball team who has done a bunch of analytical things to piece together teams. And instead of looking at each individual person as just, how well he can swing or whatever, he crunches it down into numbers. And basically it comes down to who gets on base. We don't care about all this other stuff. Who gets on base? And he then, after that, restructures their entire team based off of that to decide who gets on base. And after seeing that, they sign those players and they get the cheaper team. And they go on to have an incredible season, going further than they have in a long time. And this was something that was then adopted by basically every MLB team every MLB team basically does that now. And so this idea of the philosophical thinking kind of goes into that, kind of that deeply analytical, looking for the evidence, not just going on this gut instinct, oh, it seems good, but really getting down to the evidence and dissecting down to the very numbers of like, okay, what's working. So what I would say though, is that it can go too far in some ways, because philosophical thinkers oftentimes tend to be more abstract. And don't get me wrong, this can be a really good thing. It can be a good thing to be thinking abstractly and have abstract ideas. That can be where some of the best ideas and creations come from, is abstract thinking. But if you deal too much in the abstract and you don't really get, like when you get down to these basic numbers, if you're dealing too abstract, then it's not going to be as applicable in the situations that I think you might find in business. So while it can be a really fantastic thing to have that philosophical mind, it can also be a distraction, I think. So it's a really great article, really short. Take you less time to read the article than it is to watch this video. But I hope you enjoyed, and I thought it was a really, really good article.